Black people and a lot of white liberals got hustled.
I'm so glad that motherfucker got indicted. That was the best possible outcome.
So perhaps one of the craziest and, dare I say, sometimes scary parts of the timeline that we're living in right now is the people who go through the mental gymnastics to defend those who it's almost crystal clear that they are not the good guy. And one of the cases of that is Karmelo Anthony. And no, I'm not talking about the basketball player, just some comic relief in a very heavy, tragic situation. But I'm talking about the Texas track star who brought a knife onto school property during a track meet and then went into the tent of a rival school and then stabbed and killed track star of said rival team, Austin Metcalf, simply because Metcalf told Anthony to get out of the tent and pushed him a little. Yet Karmelo Anthony still claims self-defense and managed to raise over $500,000 in GiveSendGo money for a defense fund with donations including people saying death to the white man. Later upping the goal to $1.4 million after claiming to be indigent, aka too poor to afford an attorney, despite being able to purchase a $150,000 Escalade, and being able to rent a $900,000 house all while he was on bond. Yet Karmelo Anthony's family still had the nerve to play victim.
The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the GiveSendGo fundraiser. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do.
Look, I'm not going to say that the parents are to blame, but Karmelo Anthony was not a good kid from what we know. He loved to flaunt his guns, and the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District's headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the stabbing.
There's strict conditions. I couldn't record anything, I couldn't take pictures, there's no sound on the video, and it's raining, and you can see about 30 to 40 people around the field. It's a track meet that morning, so they're preparing for this track meet. The incident in question happens at 9:44 a.m. It's really calm. Chaos ensues, and you can't really make up anybody. You can't make out individuals. You can see people and colors and what they're wearing, but you can't make out identities.
Which we won't see until the trial, obviously, but if true, it would contradict their self-defense claim. And now let's say that in April, at the time of the press conference, they did not spend the GiveSendGo money on the $900,000 home that they rented or the Escalade, even though one of the purposes of the GiveSendGo was the safe relocation of the Anthony family due to escalating threats to their safety and well-being, as well as basic living costs and transportation. It's like, if you can't afford a lawyer, then what are you doing renting a house? Why not relocate to a small apartment where you can get the basic amenities? Why are you living a luxurious lifestyle? Oh right, it's all part of your grift. You're trying to paint yourself as victims. Well, in the mom's hubris, she said one thing at that press conference that was pretty telling.
My husband works hard every single day to provide for us. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way.
I mean, they did a good job of fooling a lot of people. People were too busy not seeing through their crocodile tears, and in the midst of all that, your legal representative was blaming the rain.
I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research.
Which, okay, let's say that because it was raining, Austin Metcalf shouldn't have told Karmelo to get out of the tent. Even with that being true, does that justify stabbing someone to death? It's like you take the public for fools. But guys, it gets worse because then he attacks Austin Metcalf's father's character just because he showed up at Karmelo's press conference.
What we've seen at the beginning of this press conference, of the father being at this press conference, these are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all The character who is not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it.
Which, speaking of things that are unreliable, that representative is Minister Dominique Alexander, President and CEO of Next Generation Action Network. And he ain't perfect, to say the least. He has an extensive rap sheet, including assault and theft, and that includes assaulting the 2-year-old child of his then girlfriend, the Dallas Observer reported.
Police have just arrested Dominique Alexander and taken him to jail.
Rebecca Lopez joins us live from the Lou Sterrett jail with much more tonight. Rebecca?
Well, the Dallas Police fugitive unit actually picked up Dominique Alexander just a little while ago, and again, he is inside this jail. He has been charged with 1 count felony assault, serious bodily injury, and 1 count misdemeanor assault. Here's what he had to say to our cameras.
This unfortunate situation, and at the end of the day, I just ask that the community continue to pray for my family.
Now, Alexander has a long criminal history, including injury to a child, and we just learned some more information about what his girlfriend says recently happened to her. Recently, activist Dominique Alexander was protesting the assault of a woman in Deep Ellum. But behind the scenes, his girlfriend says he was assaulting her. Sources say there are 2 police reports. In the first incident, the victim says on April 10th, she and Alexander were arguing when he pushed her, causing her to injure her foot and then attempted to choke her. She now has a broken toe. In the second alleged altercation, just a couple of days later, she says Alexander slammed a door, then headbutted her, causing pain. Sources say he told the victim he knows the chief of police and the DA, so who is she going to call? Chief Hall has sought Alexander's advice and often meets and communicates with him. And city manager T.C. Broadnax put him on a committee to help select Chief Hall. This has raised eyebrows considering Alexander is a known convicted felon who pled guilty to shaking a 2-year-old baby in 2011, and he has a lengthy criminal record.
I mean, I swear this guy's the devil, and I don't know why he was able to infiltrate the law enforcement, someone who has a history of disregarding the law and horribly violating people's basic safety. And again, I really try not to judge someone for their kids' actions, especially before they've had their fair day in court, but it's really hard not to, considering the amount they've claimed to be victims in all this, all the while not only barely acknowledging the pain for Austin Metcalf's family, but also downright vilifying a grieving father. It's stuff like this that really makes me lose faith in humanity to a certain extent. And it's people like him and Karmelo Anthony that people like Shiloh Hendris, the woman who yelled the N-word at a kid, was able to raise over $800,000 on GiveSendGo because she felt she was being targeted after. I mean, I didn't agree with it, and I think it was stupid to donate to her, but I also can see why people did all of that in response to people like Karmelo. A lot of people probably had what is called black fatigue.
Black fatigue is when you have no home training and you have no idea how to act in public. And a lot of it is culture. I've been in the hood, I've been in the schools and the projects where I was the only white girl there, and I can 100% guarantee you that it's culture. When majority of y'all know someone who has been unalived by another black person, way more than any instance of a black person being unjustifiably unalived by the police, that's black fatigue. As well as donating to Karmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. When you aren't able to hold your own community accountable, that's a problem. We're not going to sit here and act like this is new now, especially when we've been told for so long to feel sorry for our whiteness and that we have white tea privilege, whatever the that means, for something no white person alive today did. And no black person alive today has experienced. There is no way that y'all thought that we would be quiet for this long. You know, having us on our knees, kissing BLM's feet, still begging for the reparations that you are not owed because you did not go through what your ancestors went through. Nobody cared about race until you started blaming white people for all of your current problems. We're just untolerating it.
And honestly, I didn't know how long this tribalism was gonna last, but thankfully after Karmelo was indicted on first-degree murder charges and claimed indigent, he started losing support from his own community.
So Karmelo Anthony's family is back to begging for more money in order to quote-unquote cover his legal fees. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but in the beginning of this entire story, when it first broke into the mainstream media cycle, we found out that Karmelo's family put out a GoFundMe that was then taken down, and they had to put out a GiveSendGo where they raised upwards to $500,000, if not more, in order to cover legal expenses. That money was then used for allegedly personal reasons. We'll just keep it at that. Now, here we are with an update on June 25th, 2025, where the family is now looking to raise upwards to $1.396 million. $1,396,725 is what they're looking to raise in order to defend this guy. Now, I don't know how much this is going to help, because when it's all said and done, the evidence is going to speak for itself. Therefore, you can raise all the millions of dollars that you want. If you're guilty, and you're out of here.
You know, I find it really sickening that Karmelo Anthony's family raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations, and for them to turn around and say now that they're broke and they don't have the money to defend their son, and now they're looking for a court-appointed lawyer. Which begs the question, what happened to the money? They spent the money. And what's so sad is they literally threw their own son under the bus, left him out to dry for their own personal gain. I mean, they know, and we all know, they should have took a plea deal for that boy, because he did that shit. But let's be honest, black people and a lot of white liberals got hustled. I mean, they did what they do all the time. They play on your emotion because the kid was black, and they racked in support, sympathy, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. Donations allocated for the defense of Mr. Anthony. But did they use it for that? No. They used it for cars, shopping, a new house, bodyguards, everything other than the defense of their son. Now they need more. I think at this point, the Anthony family should take accountability and help work on a plea for their son. It's the least they can do. I mean, after all, he did take a life.
I'm so glad that motherfucker got indicted. That was the best possible outcome. I'm the father of an 11-year-old boy, and he needs to know that there are actions for your consequences. That's why I try to instill in him that emotions will get you in trouble. Now that doesn't mean you can't cry or anything like that, but that means you can't act based upon your emotions. You can't wild the fuck out, crash out, because I don't understand why the fuck is that cool. You mad as fuck because somebody going to jail after stabbing somebody, taking their life? That shit was disgusting. The fact that he was able to raise $500,000 for what? You supported a murderer just because he had the same skin color as you? Throw that ass in jail. Bye-bye.
And so this is one of those instances where I am glad that people are waking up and are willing to look outside their own tribe, so to speak. Because when we can hold others accountable, even when it feels the most uncomfortable, that is how we collectively heal. But guys, I want to thank you all for watching this video as always, and if you appreciated my commentary, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, hopefully I've earned a subscription. Here's some more videos for you to watch in the meantime. Until next time, peace out.